tricky, nuanced topic, but if we look at the modern day and the threat of communism, Marxism in the United States, to me, it's disrespectful to the atrocities of the 20th century to call somebody like Kamala Harris a communist.
Mm-hmm.
But I see the sort of escalation of the extremeness of language being used. When you call somebody like Donald Trump a fascist,
Mm-hmm.
then it makes total sense to then use similar extreme terminology for somebody like Kamala Harris. But maybe I could ask your evaluation. If you look at the political landscape today, somebody like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Well, the first thing I would say is that I think that viewing the political landscape of today as a political landscape is actually wrong. I think it's not the right frame of reference, because what I see happening are a very small percentage of dark tetrad personality types, so Machiavellian, manipulative, narcissistic, wanting undeserved attention, psychopathic, that makes them predatory parasites, and sadistic, because that goes along with the other three. That's about, in the serious manifestation, that's probably 3 to 5% of the population. And they're generally kept under pretty decent control by civilized people and stable social interactions. I think that their machinations are disinhibited by cost-free social media communication. So they gain disproportionate influence. Now, these people want undeserved recognition and social status and everything that goes along with it, and they don't care how they get it. Because when I say they want that, I mean that's all they want.
So in the realm of social media, you mentioned yes, but are you also suggesting that they're overrepresented in the realm of politics, politicians, and so on?
They're overrepresented in the realm of fractious political discourse because they can use ideas. First of all, they can use, let's say, the benevolent ideas of the right and the benevolent ideas of the left, either one, and switch back and forth for that matter, as a camouflage for what they're actually up to.
So how do you've interviewed a lot of people and you have a really powerful mind. You have a good read on people. So how do you know when you're sitting across from a psychopath?
I wouldn't say that I do know. In normal social circumstances, we have evolved mechanisms to keep people like that under control. Let's say that you and I have a series of interactions and you screw me over once. I'm not going to forget that. Now, I might not write you off because of the one time. But if it happens 3 times, it's like, we're not going to play together anymore. And in normal times, most of our social networks are connected and interacting. So like if you ripped me off 3 times and I noted that, I'm going to tell everybody I know, and they're going to tell everybody they know, and soon everyone will know, and that's the end of your tricks. But that assumes that we know who you are and we're in continual communication. Well, all of that's gone online. So anonymity does that, and so does the amplification of emotional intensity by the social media platforms and their algorithms. I think what we're doing, this is happening on Twitter continually, is we're giving the 5% of psychopaths a radically disproportionate voice. And what they're doing is there's a bunch of them on the left, and they're all, we're so compassionate. And there's a bunch of them on the right, and at the moment they're all, we're so Christian and free speech oriented. It's like, no, you're not. You're a narcissistic psychopaths, and that's your camouflage. And you hide behind your anonymity, and you use fractious and divisive language to attract fools and to elevate your social status and your clout. And not only that, to gain, what would you say, satisfaction for your sadistic impulses.
See, the problem is it's hard to tell who is the psychopath and who is a heterodox truth seeker.
Yeah, well, if you were charitable about Tucker Carlson's recent interview, you'd say that was exactly the conundrum he faced. And it is hard. Like, I've thought about, for example, interviewing Andrew Tate. And I thought, I don't think so. And then I thought, why? I figured, it's not obvious to me at all that he wouldn't charm me. So I knew this guy, Robert Hare. Robert Hare was the world's foremost authority on psychopathy. He establish the field of clinical analysis of psychopathic behavior. And Hare was a pretty agreeable guy. So, he would give people the benefit of the doubt. And he interviewed hundreds of serious psychopaths, like imprisoned violent offenders. And he told me in one of our conversations that every time he sat down with a violent offender psychopath, and he had a measure for psychopathy that was a clinical checklist, so he could identify the psychopaths from just the, say, run-of-the-mill criminals. Every time he sat down with them, they pulled the wool over his eyes. And it wasn't, he videotaped the interviews. And it wasn't until later when he was reviewing the videos that he could see what they were doing. But in person, their tricks were more sophisticated than his detection ability.